Yeah. Hans cut that song a little too short.
Hans is really quick with the trigger. So this is old school.
Old school, traditional.
It doesn't have to be a long one.
No,
We just get in, get out.
exactly. And then next week we'll have something good.
Next week, who's the guest? We have a good guest.
Life coach Keith
I
Sensler.
love the life coach business.
Yeah, they're all so different too. Your mic.
Oh, my bad. Is this good?
Yeah.
Yeah, next week we have. I mean, we've been on a crazy run.
Yeah.
Lulu and Lala crushed it.
Yeah, they took us out a little bit.
They're awesome.
Yeah, they were amazing.
They're awesome. A lot of love to them.
Yeah.
They definitely need to do like podcasts. They're so like talented and
So like full of energy.
full of energy. Good, great energy. They're awesome, and they know their health stuff too.
Yeah.
Better than most doctors, to be honest. Yeah, so we thought we'd take it back to the essence, take a break, because then we have another run of guests, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, folks are benefiting from this. The team like Mo, Hans, Sarah, who lines up guests, the team works really hard, actually. I actually don't, but the team works very hard in terms of putting this together, and I'm hoping that folks who are tuning in are benefiting from this. I hope, the whole goal, much like Baker Health as a whole, is that it's an enjoyable experience first and foremost, and secondly, you come out of it much healthier. That's really the whole vibe we're going for, right? Usually anything healthcare, whether it's a doctor's visit or watching a video about healthcare, whatever, first and foremost is not enjoyable. There's a lot of friction, right? You have to wait in the office. We don't like that. So we got rid of waiting. The programming is boring and stale, so we try not to make it boring and stale. We play music, we chop it up, we talk. And then we want you to learn and be a little bit healthier each time you deal with us. Whether it's in the office, in the yoga studio, through the podcast, YouTube, whatever. And really, 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 I mean this. Anybody who has any smart ideas on how we could do a better job, let us know. Whether that's guests you think we should have. I think we've had 2 or 3 guests that came through audience recommendations that have been really good. So guests, let us know. Topics, creative ideas. I had somebody, I don't know if I told you, Mo. I had somebody who told me they saw, I think I saw this. They saw a Joe Rogan podcast some time ago where there was a doctor who was like a vegan and a guy who's like a carnivore diet guy. Like a cardiologist who's a vegan and this PhD or whatever that's a carnivore guy. And they debated for like 2 hours. What's the benefit of like a carnivore heavy meat diet versus the benefits of a vegan diet? The guy said it'd be a good idea if we did some kind of debate format. It could be about diet, nutrition. It could be about whatever. I mean, I could get you 2 guys or girls who would debate parenting styles, right? I know smart people like in academics who talk about how we need to be much more kind of focused on old school discipline and boundaries. And I can get you folks who will tell you that we need to be much more laissez-faire, right? And I think people would be interested. So I thought that was a good idea to get maybe, instead of having guests the way we do, kind of me talking to them, it's have just debate, like in a polite, cordial way, right? But I thought that was a cool idea. It's something we should take away. But the point is, this is for you guys, right? The team puts in a lot of hard work. The feedback we get is incredible. But I got to be honest with you, we don't really have a direction. We don't have a roadmap other than those 2 principles. It's got to be fun for us and for you. Mo knows I'm only doing this if it's fun. I know Mo's only doing it if he enjoys it. And we got to feel that you guys are benefiting from it. Those are our 2 rules. Other than that, there's no real roadmap. So feel free to weigh in and guide us and give us as much feedback as possible. So that's the first thing. It's kind of open tonight. We're just going to go through questions, really, really, really laid back and low key. So give us the questions, and next week we'll be back at it with the guests. So I think that's pretty much like all I have to say in terms of opening. The Moonaki Yoga Studio open, not yoga in the office. We built a yoga studio.
Yep, for all of
at the Moonaki location for all the IZ Medical OGs.
Yep.
And
4 times a week.
4 times a week.
Yep.
And this Saturday and Sunday there's classes.
Correct.
It's the way to do it.
I mean, the yoga has been killing it.
Popping off, right?
Yeah.
So please enjoy the studio in Moonaki. We have a lot of adult members there. Give us feedback. Hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully it helps your health the way it's intended to. And that's big. That's a big weekend.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think we have a prenatal class this week.
No, it's next weekend.
Next weekend, yeah.
I think that's it. The app. We have a bunch of cool things coming up. We have a lot of content dropping on the app. We have a lot of cool videos dropping on the app.
Somebody asked about the yoga classes. Will we have various hours during the day and the evening? Yes, we will. And all the all the dates and times are on the website, and you could book directly through there. Can we do hot yoga? That's something you'll have to take up with Sharon.
Yeah, right now we don't do hot yoga.
Yeah, no hot yoga yet.
By the way, you know what the other thing that we did this week that I forgot to mention? Our collaboration with Phoenix Fitness, which is the premier boutique gym, personal fitness brand, and we have a collaboration with them. All our members, a lot of people don't know, they get a free assessment with them once a year. That's like $100 value. You have to pay $100, whatever. They do it for free for our members once a year. We put our members can access the schedule and book an appointment on our website
Directly through the website.
directly. So if you're a Baker Health member and you haven't done your annual fitness assessment with Phoenix, which trust me is one of the best experiences you'll have from a physical fitness standpoint. They, BMI, body fat, body muscle index. They go through a workout with you, customize it, ask what your goals is, talk about nutrition. You could just go on our website, book it, and for free they'll do the first consult. I would strongly encourage you to continue with Phoenix. They're awesome. A lot of my family use them for personal training and fitness, but that's up to you. But at least you could do a free consult and check it out. Dave, who runs it, is a great, great guy, and he's aligned in terms of how we look at health and wellness. He's trying to be disruptive and trying to change the game. So good people. We're very proud of that partnership, and I encourage you to go to our website and book a consultation with them. I forgot. We got the yoga thing popping off in Moonaki online with Phoenix. The content coming on the app is going to be, I think, huge, and I can't wait to get the feedback on that.
Yeah.
All right, should we just jump into it?
Yeah, let's get into some of the questions. Someone asked through the chat, suggestions for helping an almost 3-year-old boy trying to go to sleep more easily. We do a warm bath, story time, etc., and then have to stay in the room for a long time. Any tips?
If you do a warm bath and a sleep routine and dim the lights and something that wasn't mentioned, 0 screen time for a couple of hours before, even going for a walk for a couple of hours to kind of get the tank on empty. If you do all that, make sure you do all that. And then you're with him for an extended period of time before he goes to sleep. But then he goes to sleep and stays asleep and you're not in and out of the room. That's not a terrible place to be at 3 years old, to be honest. It might not be ideal. And you might want it where the child just goes to bed. But that's better than a lot of the alternatives where they're waking up constantly, where they don't go to sleep at all. They won't go to sleep in their room. They have to sleep with you. And if you have that pinned down and you continue to be consistent on the routine, no screen time before the routine, maybe a little walk before it so that they're a little tired. I promise you before long, your time and that's what we call sleep latency, the time you have to wait for them to go to sleep, will lessen.
Nice. Someone wants to know what's the best newborn formula for their baby.
I don't have an opinion on that. I mean, in over 15 years of doing this, right? The old school Similac and Infamil, right, which is what I had when I was a kid, basically, is still the biggest in the market, and that hasn't changed. And do I see a big difference between the kids who drink that and my kids on European formulas, of which now, I don't know, in our practice, most of the kids are on these European formulas.
It's like
for sure.
It's like names I've never heard before.
Do I see a difference? I don't. The studies really don't show a difference. A lot of times you'll watch these ads and it'll say, study shows that this formula is easier on this, because each of them pay for their own studies. I don't know. I don't think people get that. So let me make a comment about that. When you're watching a commercial or hearing something that says, hey, 3 out of 4 dentists recommend this toothpaste, or 4 out of 5 pediatricians recommend this, those studies are funded by that company. And so I can fund 3 or 4 studies until I get one that says what I want, and then I'll just talk about that study. It's not like an independent third party runs the study, and everybody agrees with those results. So don't be fooled by that.
And she also asked, is there a difference with organic-based formula?
Not really. There might be modest benefits, just like organic food for us, right? But I would really say that that's much more of a personal decision. Nothing wrong with it. There might be some modest benefits, but do I feel that the folks that can't afford or don't use organic formula are putting the kid at a serious disadvantage? I do not.
We got a special guest
The Buttster,
back in action.
back in action.
Haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we gave away the puppies, so now he can be in the house.
Yeah.
We
With-
brought him back because the German Shepherds would have eaten him up.
Yeah. On the sleep topic, someone asked on that, any suggestion on keeping a 2-year-old from waking up 4 times a night? She said that she's very sleep deprived.
Yeah. The 2-year-old, the first thing I'll say is that's a lesson for those that don't have 2-year-olds, that have infants, to take sleep training seriously, because once they're 2, they have wheels, they could get up, they could walk around, they could open the door. Now it's really hard to deal with it. You want to deal with that before they become 2. So that's a lesson for everybody else. For the 2-year-old who keeps waking up, if there's any naps in the second half of the day, immediately cut them out. You want to kind of make sure you take all the variables that can help you and what I call the sledgehammer approach. But if you do the variables, if you control the variables and the sledgehammer approach, then you increase the likelihood of success. So the first thing is you want no naps the second half of the day. 1, 2, no sugary drinks or foods, right? You don't want the child having cake or candy or ice cream or soda or high fructose sugars at 4 p.m. and then he can't go down to sleep at 7, right? So you want low sugar, you want low naps, you want them to be physically active during the day. Believe it or not, screen time is a double-edged sword, is doubly bad for sleep. 1, they're sedentary, so they're not physically tired to go to sleep. And 2, they're stimulated mentally, which means they can't go to sleep. So screen time for kids is just so bad, including when it comes to sleep. Now, those are the variables you can control. What's a sledgehammer? You put them in that room, and you don't have a kid from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. You no longer have a kid from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And you ignore them. Well, Dr. Baker, what if he cries? Not what if, he's going to cry. Well, Dr. Baker, what if he's hungry? He'll eat breakfast when he wakes up. He's not going to be my first kid to starve to death overnight because he skipped a meal, okay? So you take those variables, you do it. Well, Dr. Baker, does that traumatize him? It doesn't traumatize him. I've circumcised hundreds of kids in my career, and they're still my best friends now. So if that didn't traumatize him, a little sleep training won't either.
Nice. Next question. This is a good one. Someone asked, how come every time I look up hospitals that are requiring other hospitals, but then the quality goes down and the cost goes up? 1, why is this happening? And 2, what are your thoughts on it?
This has been happening for the past 10 to 15 years. Basically, it started when I came out of training. I mean, when you see these hospitals, it used to be just a bunch of hospitals in the community. And now you don't have a bunch of hospitals. You have 2 or 3 health systems that own a bunch of hospitals. And, of course, the unfortunate aspect is, by and large, the quality has not improved. In fact, not only has the quality not improved, but the cost of care has gone up. Because, the funny thing is, one of the laws of economics, I don't know if you know this, Mo, the economies of scale, which means if an organization gets bigger, one of the reasons to get bigger in business is to decrease the cost of doing business. And theoretically, you could pass on that decrease in cost to the customers. Okay, so that's why you would get bigger. Think about it, all these streaming platforms, they acquire, and they do these bundles. Right? And so then that's why they're doing that. That's why they're acquiring each other. The problem in healthcare is when folks acquire hospitals, when hospitals acquire other hospitals, they then have market share, and they actually, because you have limited options, they take advantage of that and jack the price up, right? So if you live in County X and 3 hospitals in County X are all under the same system, and they get in a fight with Cigna, and they drop Cigna, and you have Cigna, now you have no options, right? And by the way, Cigna has no options. So they say to Cigna, if you want to play ball in this county, you have to give us whatever contract we want. And so the market consolidation in healthcare, by and large, has not done much to improve quality, has done a lot to increase cost. And going back to quality, you'll have some people who say, well, that's not true because you have these academic centers that are grabbing these community centers. I can assure you, if you go to the rinky-dink hospitals in your community, You don't have the chief academic officers at the, it might say, X university hospital, right, at a local community hospital. Those guys are still at the mothership. They're not there. And what happens is they'll transfer any sick kids or patients from the community hospital to the academic center. But they always did that, even when they weren't affiliated, right? So if I was a community hospital, right, in the old days, and a kid was really sick in Jersey, I would transfer them to Hackensack Children's Hospital or St. Joe's Children's Hospital before there was an affiliation. Having an affiliation doesn't make that happen, right? And so, I'm of the opinion that, when doctors or hospitals get together, there is opportunity to make things a lot better. But unfortunately, that has not happened in healthcare the way it's happened in other systems. And we could debate why it is, but I'll forget the hospitals for a minute. Come into my little world, right? Ambulatory care, private practice, right? So, and Mo, this will make sense to you. Let me ask you a question. If I'm a solo doctor, right? I work by myself. And I tell you that, hey, you want to come see me? Since I'm alone, you know what? The office is closed Sundays because I got to be with my family. I take Wednesdays off and I leave early Friday. You're not going to be super upset with me. You could kind of understand that. Kind of.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, all right, the guy puts in 5.5 days, 6 days a week. He's got to be home a little bit for the family, but he's there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, most of Friday and Saturday, right? And let's say instead of that, now I have 6 doctors, right? And if I have 6 doctors and I tell you the same thing, I say, listen, I'm closed Sundays, blah, blah, blah. You're going to start saying, well, why the hell did you get 6 doctors then? But that's what's happening. So if you're going to have 5 doctors, if you're going to have 6 doctors, if you're going to do this, then at least there should be a big win for the patient. What's the win? Accessibility, efficiency, customer service. And then now that you're open Sunday, I don't have to go to the ER and get my deductible hit $500. So there's a benefit to the scale. Unfortunately, that's usually when the opposite happens in healthcare. Places are getting bigger and as a result, charging more, not less. And the service goes down, right? And each time you don't make it to the primary care office, you go to the urgent care ER, that's a huge cost. One ER visit costs the average American patient than all their primary care visits for a year. That's the statistic. One ER visit on average costs you more than all your primary care visits for the whole year.
That's crazy.
It's true.
That's insane. Moving on to the next question. Kind of vague. I don't know if you know much about this topic. They ask, can you explain bottle decay?
Bottle decay?
Yeah.
If they're talking about what I think they're talking about, that's if there's overuse. I don't think they mean tooth decay. There's bottle tooth decay. But bottle decay is if you use the same bottle over and over and over and you hyper-sterilize, depending on the material, it can decay a little bit. The bottles we use these days, like the Dr. Brown's, and these days the material they use is very hard to decay. Plus the sterilizers themselves, the steam and the process, it's almost like a modern autoclave. It's a lot less harsh and more effective. So, like when I started, you'd see parents come into the office feeding the kid bottle, and you would actually see mold or decay. You would actually see it. And they thought it was normal. And you had to explain, no, it's not. So these days, it's not too much of a problem. I'm assuming that's what this individual is asking. If there's something I'm missing, just ask the question again.
For sure. Usually keep this one for the end, but I wanted to know your thoughts, and I'm sure everyone did too. They want your thoughts on the Super Bowl reflections.
But I want your thoughts.
Halftime show.
Oh. You give me your thoughts.
Okay.
Somebody asked you, bro. Ask Mom.
So if you look at it, okay, so I think there's 2 ways you look at it. From a fan perspective, if you're a fan of football, the game was amazing. And that's what I thought. I thought the game was amazing. From a bettor's perspective, and you bet on the game and whatever, you probably thought it was the worst game in history.
Including the guy who sat here
last
week.
Like, he was stressing. He was sweating the whole game.
He was.
The game was great. I think it was excellent. The halftime show, it was okay. It was good. It could have been better.
Yeah.
There's a reason Justin Bieber didn't want to go on the stage. Makes sense. But I think I think Mahomes is just a different, like someone put it in like the greatest perspective. They said even at his worst, he's still competitive.
Yeah.
When he's playing at his best, he's unbeatable.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Hans, give us your insights.
I thought the halftime show was weak.
Uh huh. I'd like to see you on stage.
You know what's funny? My dad used to put me on stage a lot as a kid growing up.
Okay, didn't work. And tell me, what did you think of the game?
The game was great. I think the game was great. Even going into
Did you throw down on the game?
no, I don't bet anymore.
Anymore? There's a story there.
I go deep into it.
We have
Oh.
to have Yad here for that one.
Just March Madness.
You went to Fatton's for the game, right? Rate her Super Bowl cooking.
Amazing. We showed up
No,
with
but
Brandon.
Fatin didn't cook herself.
She did.
Get out of here. Fatin doesn't cook.
No, Fatton cooks, yo.
She's never brought food to the office.
That's something you'll have to take up
Fatin
with.
cooks?
Yeah.
She made the wings. She made the nachos.
What?
She made mac and
She
cheese.
ordered, dude, and she slapped, like, come on. She just took the stickers off of, like, Wingstop. She got you all fooled.
She's watching right now, and she's saying,
No, man, come on. Tell Anise she's got him fooled, man. The game, I thought the game was good. I mean, it was pretty slow,
Slow in the beginning.
but at the end, but it was good. And I agree with what you said, Mo. I think Mahomes is unbelievable. He's got that Steph Curry it factor. You know how I heard it described. He's got an inevitability in him. Like when he's got the ball and the game's online, you fully expect him to
Yeah.
make it happen. Like, so I think, and you know, the halftime show was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
It wasn't like the worst thing.
Yeah, it
like
wasn't.
I didn't get up like being like, this is terrible. Am I like blown away? No, like it's not like Dr. Dre and like Snoop,
Yeah.
but whatever. They had a lot of good guests come on. Yeah, I was telling somebody, Usher, like when I was in high school, Usher was the thing.
Yeah.
The fact that my man has like staying power till now says something.
Yeah. Did you see who they want or who wants to do the show next year?
No.
New Orleans, Lil Wayne.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That I think, yeah, it's a city.
That would be awesome.
Just like he's made music with everyone in the
Everyone,
world.
everyone.
So
He's
you
a
could-
legend.
Could
That
bring
would
out
be
anyone.
awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's get into the next question. Oh, did you see, by the way, they like kind of scapegoated the 49ers defensive coordinator. He got fired.
Did he get fired
He got fired, the defensive coordinator.
after the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
That's BS.
Everyone's saying that
That's BS.
he got scapegoated. I mean, he held the Chiefs to 20 points in the whole game.
That's just because they can't fire Shanahan.
Yeah. But, you know, Shanahan can't win the big game. Next question. This got asked a lot. Someone asked, do you treat all ear infections with antibiotics?
No, only severe ones. So, you know, most of the world. So here's an interesting statistic. The number one reason antibiotics are written in the United States, outpatient, the number one reason is ear infections. Did you know that?
Mm-mm. I would have thought throat infections.
Ear. And most of the world, like most of Europe, actually doesn't reach for antibiotics for ear infections because they understand most ear infections are viruses. They're not bacterial. So in the United States, of course, because of liability, if you play that game and a kid ruptures his ear or something, there could be problems. And so, plus, our society is much more antibiotic addicted than Europe is. And explaining to a patient to take, take some nasal spray, do some sinus rinses, do some ginger, and be patient, and then come back in 2 to 3 days to make sure it's resolved. That's actually the more holistic, appropriate way. Many, many, many of our patients right now at Baker Health, that's what we do. Right now, when I see an ear and it's infected, and it's bulging, and the kid's in trouble, we put them on antibiotics for sure. But a lot of times we don't have to. And you know the move I like to pull with the script.
Oh, yeah.
Where I tell them,
Hold it for a day.
Yeah, we'll give them the script. We'll tell them, listen, I bet you the kid's better in 2 days. If he's not, there's your script. So they don't feel naked without it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good compromise. I think parents feel
And most of the time, the script never gets filled.
they're filled it. And by the way, the American Academy of Pediatrics, it's for the doctors and medical students and residents listening, the American Academy of Pediatrics actually endorses that as a method. They say, if you don't feel the ear infection requires antibiotics as a doctor, give the family the script, explain to them it's going to get better, and establish rapport and trust such that they'll oblige by those instructions. And it works. It works, But it's always funny to me. It's always funny how many times a day I'll get somebody coming into the office who's like, "Hey, Dr. Baker, I take a very holistic approach. I don't like medicine. You know, my grandfather or my dad died of cancer, and you know they chemoed him to death, and blah 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 blah. So I really like you guys because you're very holistic." I'm like, "Great." Next day, Jimmy comes in with a fever. We're like, "It's viral." They're like, "Yeah, but I'm going on a cruise tomorrow. Just give him antibiotics." So it's funny how people say one thing and live another way. Most people, when you explain it to them and they get it, that's fine. But a lot of people just think they know better. And the worst part is, most people still don't know to this day that antibiotics cause more harm than good. They still don't get it, right? Just like chemo, right? Chemo's great when you need it.
Yeah.
But it kills everything in its sight. Antibiotics are great when you need it. Most of the time you're getting antibiotics, you do not need it.
Nice. Next question. Oh, this is a good one. Someone asked for your thoughts of New Jersey being ranked the second most hated state in the country.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're lying.
I swear to God. I'll send you the article.
When did this come out?
Like a couple of days ago.
Most hated or most misunderstood?
I think most most misunderstood.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Exactly. Can't walk the walk.
Jersey's the best.
I think Jersey. Yeah, Jersey's amazing.
Okay. Most densely do you know this, Hans? Hans doesn't know. It's the most densely populated state in the country. Did you know that? No, you didn't. Did you know that? Not one of. Nuh-uh.
The most.
It's the most densely populated state in the United States. Did you know that? He won't answer. I can say.
I just shake my head. I said yes.
Yeah, sure. So if people hate it so much, why is it the most densely populated? It's expensive, high taxes, yet people come back here and move here all the time. Bruce Springsteen, Bon Jovi, Jon Stewart. You want me to keep going? We have like
Goes on and on.
goes.
and on.
The list goes on and on and on.
We don't even get into
Shaq.
the athletes are
Crazy athletes,
yeah.
right?
Amazing schools.
Barbara Streisand, Princeton University, Rutgers. We have it all,
Yeah.
right? So they hate us because they ain't us. By the way, what's the most hated state? What's number one? Yeah, New York too. We can't claim that's just Jersey. Yeah.
1 second. I gotta pull.
I
up
wonder
the
what the most hated state is.
You never heard the jokes like America's armpit?
I hear the
Illinois.
jokes, but that's BS. That's haters.
Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah,
Is that because Chicago?
probably.
Interesting. I'm not buying the like.
And
whatever.
and Illinois, I feel like a lot of people from there, like, I just feel like they're kind of egotistical and they think like, oh yeah, Chicago, we have the best pizza, and like, okay, like suck it up. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No one likes
And the
deep
weather's
dish.
terrible.
And the weather's terrible.
Yeah. I'm very proud of being from New Jersey.
Yeah, me too. And then a follow-up question on Jersey. Someone wanted your thoughts on the World Cup final being held here.
I've tried for many years to pretend I give a shit about soccer. I really have, because my brother loves soccer. He was like a soccer star. All my uncles, from off the boat, they're all, any of your family, all my family are immigrants.
So funny. You'll see like your immigrant uncle, like there'll be a basketball on the floor and he'll still feel the need to kick it.
That's by the way, that's so true. Right? It could be a football, not a basketball, like a tennis ball, and he starts like twirling it on his foot. I walk into anywhere if there's a football laying in the kitchen. Any of my uncles, they like do that move and they're bouncing it on their knee. I'm like, Jalo, cut it out, bro. You're doing the wrong thing. Yeah, I know it's I get it. I just can't. I can't. The World Cup comes. I also feel I'm going to say this, and not everybody's going to get pissed at me. I also feel that like when the World Cup comes to the United States, a lot of people pretend they're soccer fans.
Yeah.
Because people I know for those last 4 years in between, I've had 80 conversations with them.
Not soccer brought up once.
Never bring up soccer. World Cup's here. All of a sudden they're wearing the Colombia like jerseys and stuff, right? Or go Italy. I'm like, bro, name the goalkeeper. Well, blah, blah. No, I don't know. So I think it's a lot of like fake love and stuff. America's a football, basketball, baseball country. It just is. I don't know. Soccer, it's like hockey to
Yeah.
me. Like, you have these guys who are like, dude, you don't get it. You have to go. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I think you don't get it. So whatever.
I think
No hate. I appreciate it. I'm glad everybody enjoys it, but it's just not for me.
I think after the World Cup and like the traffic and everything in Jersey, Jersey's gonna become the #1 most hated state after the World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, Route 3 is a mess already.
So when does the World Cup go?
2020 summer 2026.
Oh, we still got a couple years?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, here we go. So Hans, are you a soccer guy?
My in-laws are. So I'm taking them. I surprised them with tickets.
Are tickets on sale now? And where it's at Giant Stadium? MetLife?
They're calling it New York, New Jersey Stadium, because
They
MetLife's
can't call it MetLife.
can't
Sponsored.
sponsorships.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. But is the World Cup going to be just in the tri-state, or is it
No,
all over the country?
All over the country.
But the championship is
The
here.
championship games
And some games.
and I think there's 2 or 3 games, but the final is going to be in MetLife.
Yeah, man. You could get me tickets for free. For free, and I would not go. Right? Because I don't want to be in traffic and
Yeah, forget about it. And it's like the full stadium capacity too.
Yeah, like I said, listen, I got peeps in North Bergen and Union City that are like, go, go. Like, they're all about it.
Even we have a lot of families, their kids just play like soccer freaks.
Bro, I get it. God bless them. Like, just I'd rather go to the garden and catch the Knicks.
Here's a good question that came in. They said first, heard you speak at my kid's school. This was about a month ago. You were excellent.
You were with me.
Yeah, I was with you and Hans too.
Oh, he showed up like 30 minutes later.
The parents are talking about you and what you talked about all day, every day. Why do you think more doctors don't take a fresh and unique approach to healthcare towards the way that you do?
I don't know. One day, you know what we should do? We should have a bunch of doctors here, and we should all just discuss, I don't know. I think probably if I had to guess, first of all, I think a lot more doctors do think the way we do. They're just, I don't want to use the word afraid. I feel like they don't feel like they can speak, or they're in a position where they can't manifest their opinions. Meaning, if you're the average doctor at the average practice, and you believe that you should be able to, text your members, right? Your boss is either going to say, no, that should be a visit. You can't text them, right? How many times, we just text people, like they have pink eye, we don't bring them in, blah, blah, blah. We prevent visits. Most practices are trying to generate visits. 1. 2, you have to, they're trained in a way, a lot of doctors are trained like, okay, you have to do A, B, C, D, and then they don't go back and realize that most of what you learn when you're in medical school 3 to 5 years later is no longer the standard of care. And I think it's more just the system, right? Like if you work in a hospital, dude, right? Most doctors these days are affiliated with a hospital system. The majority of doctors, 62% of American doctors are employed by a hospital system. Okay, how does a hospital function? What does a hospital need to stay in business? It needs one thing and one thing only: sick patients.
Yep.
Remember that, right? If people think that because they change their name to health systems, they're actually in the health business. They're not. They're still hospitals, and they make their bones on sickness. And if hospitals actually saw wellness executed on, they would be the first ones to go out of business. And so since 62% of American doctors are employed by hospitals, that means 62% of American doctors make a living off of disease, right? They make a living off of procedures, right? Now, a lot of those doctors, I believe, know what we know and believe what we believe, which is holistic preventative care is where we should focus. The 80-20 needs to flip, right? The problem is they're shackled and they're trapped, right? When they wake up, they don't have they don't have EAD, they don't have a team or a business model that's built on wellness. That's what we tried to do, right? We built everything so that our doctors don't have to worry about that nonsense, and they're encouraged to tell someone to go to yoga instead of getting surgery for their hip, right? And so I think there has to be a reshift. But the problem is, here's the last thing I'll say about this. The problem is the doctors are not calling the shots, right? When we say 62% of doctors work for hospital systems, go type in today. I'm not kidding. Anybody's listening. Type in CEO of hospital system today. Do you know what you won't see in front of the CEO's name? MD. You won't see doctor. You won't, right? They're all business guys, accountants, and lawyers. So I want you to think about this for a second. People listening, you guys have accountants, right? If I told you the guy who runs your accounting firm was a doctor, you'd laugh in my face and then you'd fire him. If I told you your lawyer works at a firm where the guy in charge is a doctor, you'd say it was a joke. But nobody flinches when I say the guy running the hospital system or the health system is a lawyer and accountant. What does that tell you? Two things. It tells you they're in it for the business of medicine. And it also tells you don't have somebody at the top calling the shots who's ever treated a patient, cared for a patient, or necessarily knows what they're talking about. That's true, straight up. And so even the doctors, so think about it, they wake up and go to a system where disease is the way you make a living. And then the top-down protocols and policies are made by folks who aren't doctors, who never trained in that. And so even if they feel differently, they're not in a position to act differently, right? And so I think it's much harder. I don't blame the doctors. I think what has to happen is doctors have to get together themselves, have to be willing to sacrifice too. Also, you know, the other thing sometimes it pisses me off, I'll be with doctors and they're like, yeah, I agree, Z. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but you know, that if I did that, I'd have to go off on my own, and then, you know, I'd have to like, it would be, you know, I don't get this, and I'm like, yeah, dude, it's a risk. Like, you know, you've been there, like with me, like it's risky.
Yep.
Also, what we do, right? Right now, I think a lot of people think that our approach is really cool. It wasn't cool when we started. It wasn't, right? And so when we're open on Sundays, and we see
Or
two
that
patients.
snowstorm.
Yeah, or on a snowstorm, and we see two patients the whole day, and we have staff and rent and doctors. But we understand that those two patients didn't have to go to the ER, and we saved them a headache, and we're there for everybody else. Other folks won't do that, right? First of all, they're not willing to sacrifice their Christmas day to be in themselves, let alone be there without a packed schedule, right?
Yeah, forget about it.
So, you know, it's a longer conversation. I'd be willing to have it with doctors. If there's doctors that are I know a lot of doctors watch this, and a lot of doctors are part of Baker Health. I'd love to discuss it further. I'd like to have doctors come on, and because most of the doctors we have on are specialists talking about their specialty. I'd love to have more doctors talk about the healthcare system.
Yeah, for sure. That would be a really long live, but
Yeah.
really informative. Back to the bottle DK question. She had a follow up to it.
I knew I got it wrong.
No, it was bottle DK. Yeah, you're right. She said, "What do you think about a 17-month-old having his 4 front teeth pulled out because of bottle DK?"
Yeah. So that's what I meant. I think it's unfortunate. If you're asking, does he have to have his teeth pulled out? If you've gotten 2 opinions from quality dentists, then yes. A lot of times people ask, why would you have to have a temporary teeth pulled out? Well, temporary teeth can cause infection and abscesses and major jaw problems, just like permanent teeth. And you can't wait for them to fall out in 3 years if the kid's going to get infected in the next 3 months. And so it's unfortunate. And that's why you got to get rid of the bottles after the first year of life, right? Dental surgery in pediatrics is the most common elective anesthesia procedure in the United States.
And see your dentist after the first birthday.
And see the dentist at 1 year of life. I don't know why people say, Dr. Baker, I took my 2-year-old to the dentist. He said, he doesn't need to see him. Then you should find a new dentist. You have to see the dentist at 1 year of life. You know what the American Academy of Pediatrics says? It says 6 months after the first tooth erupts or the first year of life, whichever comes first.
Yeah.
So we say at 1 year. But
Yeah.
theoretically, if you popped a tooth at 4 months, we're 2 months behind. So
Yeah.
even 1 year is a somewhat casual approach. And most people are like, you're crazy to send your kids out 1 year. That's a standard of care. By the way, we have an excellent. Dentist. Do you have the information?
Yeah, I have the information. We'll link it all.
We have an excellent dentist who does kids and adults.
Dr. Michael Moad.
Excellent dentist. His practice, they already have a couple of offices, but they're opening downstairs in our Paramus office.
Yep.
I couldn't be happier for our families.
Yep.
So anybody in Bergen County that's with the Baker Health crowd, you have a built-in dentist downstairs. You're going to love them.
Nice. Next question. Somebody asked, my 16-month-old is chewing on her books and her fabric on her playpen. Should I be worried about pica? Is there anything we can do to avoid this?
Rather than thinking about pica as something that leads to a problem, them chewing usually doesn't lead to a problem. The question is it the result of anemia or lead poisoning? All you have to do is once just get it checked in the office. We do a finger stick.
Yeah.
Just a simple finger stick.
They don't even feel it.
That's it. And 99% of the time, it's not due to that. And then you don't have to worry about it. And they're in the oral phase of development. But yeah, and by the way, the big giveaway is soil and dirt. When they're eating soil and dirt, chewing the playpen and the book, I'm not saying to ignore it. You should come in, do a finger stick, but that's not concerning.
Nice.
It's when kids start to chew a lot of what's called inanimate products, toys, soil, paper, as a result of having anemia and iron deficiency.
Nice. Back to the health system question. Somebody said they want. What do you think about the mental health care system?
It's the worst part of a terrible healthcare system. So the mental health, everything said about healthcare, that's pretty compared to mental health. Mental health is a crisis, like an utter crisis. Any family that has somebody with serious mental health, let me say it another way. Let me change what I said. No family with a member who has serious mental health issues has a positive experience with the healthcare system. Okay? It's a disaster. Every day I have families who we can get them great pulmonary care. It's a mess, and we have to bulldoze things, and we have to screw around with referrals and prior authorizations, but we get it done. We get them in, and we get them great pulmonary
Literally
care.
any specialty.
Except mental health. Mental health. By the way, the only specialist we have in our office,
Mental health.
thanks to Dr. Brian Legg, is our psychologist. Iad and I decided we're never going to go into the specialty business. We're going to be primary care and go deep and narrow and be the very best at primary care. The one place we made an exception was mental health. Because, first of all, I think it's going to be part of primary care. It should be considered primary care. But it's such a disaster. None of them take insurance. None of them will see you before 2033. And if things get serious, by the way, I'm talking about depression and anxiety, and I'm not saying those aren't serious. Those are very serious.
Not even like touching into
When you have suicidal ideation, when you have schizophrenia,
bipolar disorder.
it's basically go to the ER, and then they get admitted, and then they're transferring them from inpatient to inpatient. It's a disaster. There has to be healthcare in general needs to be transformed, but mental health needs to be revolutionized.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's bad. Somebody asked about your thoughts of Doc Rivers going to Milwaukee.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't think it really changes anything for them.
Do you think, how far did they go?
Just as far as they were with the last coach, not too far.
Yeah, so you don't think Doc's like a game changer?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I don't think it moves the needle.
I mean, he was with the Sixers for like 5 years?
Less.
3?
3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
Clippers.
Didn't take any of them
Celtics,
to,
yeah.
except for the Celtics. What the Celtics had:
KG, Pierce.
KG, Pierce,
Rondo.
Allen.
Yeah.
They had a squad. Next question. Somebody asked. This is a good one. I want to see which one I want to ask first. I'll ask this one. They asked, how is it that with every location, every employee with you guys, literally every time, no exaggeration, it's outstanding? How do you hire the best?
I think to be honest, we had a good core when we started, and we had Tamara, we had Jenny, we had Fatin, we had Lasandy, Katie for sure. You have Viv, you have Soph, you have Taina, you have Tati. There's a bunch of people, and then other old school throwbacks like Jazz, Sarah. I think when you have like a dynamite core, right, then the rest flows from that. And what I mean by that is I've heard people describe it like if parents invest a lot in their oldest kid, right, it's going to trickle down on their others, right, because that's going to be the parent, so to speak. I think if your core foundation is just unaccepting of anything less than excellence, and that's what we have. We like, you know, after me, yeah, the next 10, 15 people in the company are animals. They're dogs. They're people who are like super, super focused on member experience. They're people who think what's happening in healthcare sucks more than we do, and who take it personally if somebody comes to Baker Health and doesn't have an outstanding experience, and who really, really don't just talk the talk but walk the walk and treat every single member as a family member. Like Mo, right? I've talked. I mean, I don't want to embarrass him. Like, you know, if I'm out of the country and Miriam calls me and one of the kids has an issue, there's not many people I'd want like coordinating specialists, blah blah blah. If she said Mo, I'd call Mo. I'd call Jazz. I'd call Ahem. Right? The first 15 people I'd call to take care of a family member happen to work at Baker Health. Right? And so when you add employees 16, 17, 18, they're being trained by these people. And I can't overstate that your core, your foundation has to be solid. I think that it all trickles from there.
I agree. And then I'll save this one for last. Someone wanted to know what's more important, exercise or your diet? Can I answer this?
Why don't you take it? Because I was going to say something stupid. You
diet, for sure.
But you eat whatever you want.
Yeah, but...
Like, that's funny. I'm surprised you said that because you're a workout goon.
Yeah.
But you eat whatever you want.
That's true, but I also, like... I know I can eat that one meal or two meals that are not the healthiest options, but I know, like, okay, the next couple of days I'm going to have to eat cleaner than those past couple
Tell
of meals.
me what's clean for you.
What's standard. Portion of veggies for sure. Protein, whatever way you want to split it up. A little bit of carbs.
But you'll eat Chick-fil-A in the office.
Yeah, but I'll have like I won't eat a sandwich. I'll eat nuggets. Or like the grilled nuggets.
What's your fast food go-to?
Probably Chipotle or Qdoba.
Yeah, not terrible. How about, like, do you eat pizza?
Yeah, I eat pizza.
You like pizza?
Yeah, I'll eat pizza, but like I'll have it once a week.
How many slices when it's once a week?
3 to 4. Like yesterday, I had pizza. I had 3 to 4 slices.
So when you do that, then the next day, what's your healthy...
So like today, I had, like in the morning, I had oats and eggs for breakfast. Then lunch, what did I have? I had sushi for lunch.
Pretty healthy.
And then, like I had a protein bar in between. And then probably dinner later tonight, I'll have probably like protein, like chicken and rice. That's what it's going to end up being.
You don't skip meals. You don't fast.
Some days, like in the morning, I'll wake up. And if I don't have time in the morning, I'll prepare myself to fast till lunchtime, which is like 2, 3 o'clock. And that'll be like a fasted morning where it's just water.
Okay.
Like no snacks.
You don't drink coffee, really?
No, not really.
But you work out every day.
Almost every day, like 5-6 times a week.
Yeah.
But like the working out, I feel like, because like you're eating 4 or 5 times a day, you're only working out once, maybe twice
a day. By
the way,
there's no question it's diet.
Exactly, 100%.
There's no question it's diet.
Yeah.
Because if you watch what you eat, you will get in good shape.
Yeah.
If you don't watch what you eat and work out every day, you won't be in good shape.
Yeah.
But they're both very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. So
yeah.
That's my take on it.
I think you're right.
Next question. This is a good one. Someone asked, what's your top 1 or 2 most sacred principles towards your kids as a parent? Put aside you being a pediatrician, same as a husband towards your wife.
Wow. Great question.
It's a meaty question.
Top 1 or 2 principles as a parent towards my kids, putting aside I'm a pediatrician.
And your wife.
And then the wife. Okay. For my kids, the one that I always use sometimes, and I think people say this, but if you actually do it, you get a lot of weird looks a lot of times, is I'm always very, very honest with my kids. I always treat my kids the way I talk to my kids, the way I talk to my boys, like the way I talk to Muhammad, if I talk to Christian or Connor or whoever. I've never, ever, ever, ever pulled punches with my kids. They ask me a question, and I answer them the way I would answer anybody. I give them what I think is the cold hard truth.
Yeah, like if I've seen it too. Like if Dean had a bad game, you're gonna tell him straight up, like you would have told Iad or me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think being honest with your kids is incredible because it's an investment in the long term. I find that kids are much, much smarter than parents think they are, than adults think they are. And they're quick. You know, a lot of times people come to you and they're like, they say, I hear this all the time. I'm not judging anybody at all. I'm just breaking it down. I hear this all the time. My 14-year-old doesn't talk to me. Comes home, slams the door. My 16-year-old doesn't want to whatever. And I'm like, and I think a lot of that, and look, again, parenting's the hardest thing in the world. I'm just kind of spitballing. I find a lot of times what happens is it's because in the early years, we're trying to parent our kids. I think instead of parenting the kids, you should try to connect with the kids. And I think if the kids grow up, think with an honest relationship with you where you're not trying to hide this or show that or emphasize this and decrease this, I think when they know there's no BS with you, for better or worse, by the way, and I'll get back to that in a second, then when they're getting older, 16, they should get closer to you. Like my kids now, I'm every year I'm closer and closer to my kids, right? Because they come with me to work on the weekends. We go to the basketball game together. This Sunday we're going to the Jamboree together. All right.
It's gonna be electric.
Yeah, Don Bosco and Ramapo.
Yep.
And I think it's because you know what happens? I'll tell you what happens. You try to parent your kids when they're young and you try to create this distance, like an authoritarian kind of thing. And all of a sudden they're 16 and now you can't have that relationship. And that defines your relationship, power. And now they're not interested in it. They're not going to listen to power. And if you don't at that point have some friend relationship, if you don't have some other connection besides authoritarian, you're not going to have a relationship, right? Because you could scare a 3-year-old into following you around. You can't get a 16-year-old to hang out with you because they're afraid of you. A 16-year-old's only going to hang out with you because they want to.
Yeah.
And so now let me say one thing. Do not take that to mean there shouldn't be boundaries and discipline because it's both sides. You have to be straight up with the kids also when they screw up. But if you're straight up with them all the time, there's going to be a lot more of good guy conversations, positivity than the negativity, right? And I think you could deliver both. And so I think just being very honest with them is one of my principles. I can't ever remember a time. I mean, when very close family members die and they're young, when they screw up in school, when they screw up whatever. And the second principle with the kids, I would say, is I always try to show them the other side of the coin. So anytime, like we'll watch the presidential debate and they're like, oh, this, I can't believe this guy. He's like, so whatever. And I say, okay, go look at where this guy came from. Go read this, go read that, right? Oh, Dr. Dad, I like the Democratic this or the Republican that. Like, all right, go find out about the other side. And to teach them that they're always only getting half the story and to always have empathy for the other side of the story. Because there's always, always 2 sides, if not 3 to the other story. And it's something most adults, I find, don't realize, right? What did Jay-Z say? I love Jay-Z's line. I don't know if I ever told you this. One of my favorite lines. He said, believe.
Half of what you see, none of what they tell you.
Exactly. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. And so, there's always 30 sides to the story. And it's, it behooves us to have that kind of mindset. So I try to, with the wife, advice my dad gave me, it's the best advice I ever got in terms of being a husband. Always put your partner's happiness before your own, and you'll both be happy, right? And again, sounds simple. It's not. It's not, right? There's trips. I get texts like, hey, let's go to Vegas. Let's do this, do that. And you want to go? You're like, what's it going to mean in the long run? It is what it is. And so always put your partner's happiness before your own. And the second thing with the partner, I find is to never, and I don't always do this. You work with us, so is to never, ever, ever disrespect your partner in public. I think one disrespect in public to a partner is equal to 100 in private.
Yep.
Right? So you never want to put someone down. You always what did Bob Hurley say, the coach from St. Anthony's? He said, "Praise in public, criticize in private." I screw that up sometimes, I know, but I try to do it.
Yeah.
But Hans, is it gonna be like fun, or is it gonna be like?
I just wanted to see. I just wanted to like. I kind of resonated with the whole like. You know how like we're all products of immigrants.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you had to break like some cultural norms when you started raising your kids? Because like for me, for example, it's like I grew up with like a very strict Muslim dad, so it's like there was like a lot of a lot of that, and never done anything on my
Yeah.
growing up. And now it's like I'm searching to have like build a relationship with my parents, have like some type of better relationship.
Yeah.
So in contrast, my teenage early 20s, I was acting out.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think, first of all, I think from what you described, you can come out in a very good place, because from friction and tension, and at you can come out much stronger, right? There's a lot to be said for difficulty. Difficulty is very, very important. You want adversity. One of my biggest fears is comfort. Comfort is a great way to just slow down, not be disruptive, not be progressive. So that's on that. Now, to me personally, to answer you directly, Hans, no, I didn't have to break anything, because even though I come from immigrant family, blah blah blah, I got very lucky. Like my dad, I mean, Muhammad knows my dad very well. I got so lucky. He's like easygoing. By the way, what I said about how I treat my kids, that's how he always treated me. He was like, yo, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Muhammad doesn't know my mom. She passed when I was younger. She was very like hardcore, like she was a little more hardcore, but very supportive. I mean, I got very lucky. I got very lucky. Support system, blah, blah. I was very blessed. I really was.
Yeah, I think OG Azam's like the most laid back dude
Yeah.
I've ever met in my life.
For sure. Yeah.
Couple more questions since we kind of brought it up in your last.
Tonight's
answer.
getting personal.
Yeah. This one's a little personal, but we won't stay on it for too long. It's a little political. I know we don't talk politics here, but it's a frequently asked question. So I was like, you know what? Let's just get into it for a little bit. I'll keep it short and simple. Biden or Trump?
Neither.
One can't run 'cause it's legal stuff.
No, you can actually run. You could be president from jail.
I
Yeah.
mean, he could just pardon himself, right?
No, but you could be president from jail.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know about that, Mo. If you could pardon yourself. I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question. But I do know you could be president from jail.
That's crazy.
I think people are going to hate this. Look, man, I was on the medical executive committee for like the largest hospital in New Jersey. When you get to a certain age, we run tests on you because you can't do procedures. It's dangerous, right? Anybody who's like, hey, it's not ageist. There's a certain age that you should have to like reprove your capabilities at a minimum. Is this the best America has? Like, are you telling me these are the best? Like it's the best country in the world. We have the smartest, brightest, most innovative people in the world. Go find a couple other guys. Come on. When I look at presidential candidates, when I look at them and hear them, I should want to run through a wall, not go take a nap. Right?
Agreed.
Right? They should shock me with their inspiration. And they should be like, all right, immigration, right? We need the best and smartest people in this country coming in. We need to embrace immigrants, but we also need to find a way to not have insecure borders. Reasonable approach. Talk to me. Right? Taxes, right? Those who are fortunate shall help those that are not unfortunate, those that aren't fortunate. Right? Totally agree with that. But how do we make sure that when there's taxes, they're going to help school systems? We want to see the school systems get better. We want to see the roads get better, right? Nobody minds doing it if you're getting the benefit. In fact, you'd pay more taxes, to be honest with you, if you know it's going to benefit people, right? All the like racial, all the divides that happen, all the animosity and stuff like that, right? I've never ever been in a room in my life, right? I'm 43 years old. I'm born and raised. I've never been in a room ever where I see any of the hate and stuff in person that I see in TV, right? So there's got to be a kind of a leader. Like I'm not political, but like there's guys that when they talk or women when they talk and lead, you're like, yeah, that's right. This is small stuff. The big stuff is we're all one people. We're one human race. America should be an example to help lead the world, not go around and cause more problems in the world, right? I don't think these are radical things. And the fact that our choices are like extreme, right? I think the beauty of America is we're not extreme. I think the beauty of America is you stop and listen. And you're like, this guy makes sense. I like this guy. I'm not going to judge him by how, where he's from or whatever. And I don't know. I feel like the country's in an awkward place, and I don't think you give pass to leadership. And I don't see any of these guys being the answer. But what do I know?
Next question. So this teacher asked, she said, as a teacher and a parent, I have a dual view of the constrained and under-resourced mental health help that we have for kids. Do you have any creative solutions? And I don't have any creative solutions. She wants to know if you do.
No, I mean that goes back to what we said about mental health in the healthcare system. It's the same in the school systems. So every day we get kids that come in that it's a 8-year-old who's acting out or not focused or whatever, and the school psychologist is doing her best, the teachers are doing their best, but they're under-resourced. And just like mental health, our education system and its support system is greatly under-resourced.
By the way, there was this a report I saw the other day. Oh, not a report, an article. It said that not a lot, but a good amount of New Jersey schools are moving to virtual teaching because of how under-resourced,
I didn't know that.
how understaffed they are with teachers.
That's
like
crazy.
A shortage of teachers.
Virtual is not good for the kids, man.
Yeah.
It's not good. You can't. It's going to take a lot to talk me off that. Virtual is not good. So that's a shame. The first thing they need to do is pay teachers more. It's crazy. That's crazy. My mom was a teacher. First thing they need to do is pay teachers more. And the second thing they need to do is respect teachers more. And all the parents who fight with teachers who tell you something about your kid, you're wrong. The teacher's right. When the teachers and coaches tell me something about my kids, hey, they need to improve in this, you know what I say? Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for putting me in a position to be a better parent. I don't argue with them. They don't have it out for my kid.
I agree. This is a good question. Someone asked, would you ever consider advising other practices on how to fix their operations?
No, we talk to doctors. Like doctors talk to us about like, hey, how do you do social media and how do you train your team and how do you schedule and workflow. So we talk to friends of ours who are doctors and other practices who are interested.
Even like our members who are the parents are doctors.
Yeah, we give them advice, but I think we need to stay focused on our own. Also, what we do is not easy. I think the reason we're able to deliver a good experience that's differentiated is because we're laser focused on it. And the second we take our eye off the ball, I've seen that happen. I've lived through that. I think if our priorities get mixed up, we could slip quick.
And this is the question I wanted to wrap with, unless we have any more coming through, which I don't see. Question is, what's your ultimate vision with Baker Health?
We got a chat. I sent it. Did you see the chat I sent an hour and a half ago? A half hour before we
Yes.
Did you see the chat?
Yes, I did.
Do you want to read the chat?
Yeah, I'll read it
Just
right now.
read
Let me
it.
just pull it
Don't
up.
violate HIPAA, but read it.
Member said, this is simply the best medical experience I've ever had. It's completely changed my thoughts about, in quotes, going to the doctors. That's all he said.
So,
and then he said, is there a place I can leave a positive review?
So getting as many New Jerseyans and New York folks to feel that way, to feel that I used to hate going to the doctor and now I look at dealing with, and again, I like the way Mo says it. We don't want you to think of coming, you're not going to the doctor. You're part of a healthcare community. You're part of a wellness community. We're a part of your life. You're a part of our life. Once in a while, you have to come see me, but most of our relationship is chatting about your wellness, chatting about your nutrition, seeing you at a yoga class, seeing you at Phoenix for fitness and working out, mental health,
Vitamin infusions.
and once in a while there's a doctor visit. and redefining it where not only do we have better outcomes in our Focus Healthcare, but they love it. It's a part of their life. They go on the app. They're getting texts from us. That's the vision. That's the vision. It's having just, folks that say this is like just that. It's redefined how I take my healthcare seriously because I finally have the right partner. Not the right doctor, not the right practice, but I have the right partner. And we're in the early innings. We're in the first and second inning. And we're going to try to do better. And we need the feedback from you guys. Just give us the feedback. We're listening. We're trying. That's how we started this whole thing. That's why we are where we are now. And we plan on being a lot better for you guys.
That's all I got.
This was old school. Throwback.
I liked it.
Next week, we have a life coach.
Yeah.
Right? You guys will post about it.
Yep.
All right. We love you guys.
And then we'll also put the information for the dentist as well.
Make sure.
Yep.
And then Lulu and Lala's full podcast is going to be out tomorrow.
Great. Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Their full podcast is out tomorrow on YouTube and Spotify.
Beautiful.
YouTube, Spotify, Apple,
Yeah, follow us on YouTube. Download the podcast. Right?
Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah.
Facebook, LinkedIn, a lot of informative stuff.
Yeah.
If you guys want to tune
Yeah.
into some of that.
I'm a LinkedIn guy. I just am. All right. Good night.